Let's get it started. Want to hear it?
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Want to hear it? You want to hear it? Here it goes. Welcome to the 43rd episode of Born in Trouble. I'm your host, John X. You know, one day I'm going to figure out how to get these sound effects integrated into the YouTube so that way it works. You know, before y'all came in, and I'm going to spend more than 10 minutes trying to figure it out too. I think that's probably going to be the key to the success, because I tried it. I was going through some stuff before I came on, and I realized, like, because, you know, I've got the Squadcast FM. I never use that, and that actually has pretty good video. But I don't know if I can do that and I can go live on YouTube. And then also with my connection to my podcast, I can't get the sounds on the, like I can make myself hear myself, give myself applause all day. Woo, feels good. Can't nobody hear it. Anyway, 43rd episode.
I damn sure can.
I ain't hear nothing.
There you go. There you go. And tonight we have one more guest than we had last week. It was 2. This week it's 3. And maybe next week we'll have a full 4. But right now, from parts unknown in the South, by way of New York, I'm only fucking with you, Andrew Johnson.
What's good, my brothers? What's good?
What's good? Andrew Johnson was just talking to us while we were off camera beforehand, talking about the Beyonce wars that are going on down south. I know it's tough out there. They're making you wear put actual flags on your cars that you were saying. But Andrew, I don't want you to comment on that right now because it might or might not be true. And of course, from Detroit, Michigan, the Cityway King.
What up, though?
What up, though, Mr. Grant Lancaster? How you feeling?
How you feeling, bro?
Very good.
I'm good. I'm good. I feel rejuvenated, man. I'm glad. I'll be glad when this draft is over. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, Rob had some pretty disparaging things to say about you last week.
Yeah. I had to jump. I got to jump into my Rob Brooks like 3-piece.
Yeah,
you know, and do a little shuffling for the man.
Yeah, right I personally was upset about what he was saying. If you couldn't hear it, it might not have came across in the broadcast, but I was a little bit upset. But Rob, of course, is not here because he's out there shuffling for the man. That's right.
Yeah, everybody got to shuffle from time to time.
That's the way the world works. We all got to dance and shuffle. You know, back in the 70s, it was the disco era. OJ had to dance his way through. OJ.
Oh, poor OJ. Tink.
You know, OJ passed away right after we had done the show last week, and I was sad because I wasn't going to get a chance to talk about him until now. Who can't forget OJ jumping over your suitcase in the airport?
Right.
Run, OJ, run. Run, OJ, run. OJ might have single-handedly brought down Hertz as a rental company. What do you think? Is that possible? Is it possible? The negative association? Damn. After bringing them up, let them down.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah,
I don't think people associate Hertz with OJ anymore.
No, that was what, 80s more?
Yeah, that was the 80s. Yeah, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, he stopped playing in I think 79, 80.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around there. He finished up with San Francisco, and was out there with the 49ers. Not the same player, but hey, OJ's gone, and I was just like, listen, I don't know OJ. So like all these other celebrities that we talk about, don't really make a difference to me. The fuck? I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm really sad that OJ is dead. I'm not going to say that I'm happy that he's gone. I'm just going to say he's gone. Yeah. But I just hope that a lot of people don't take that point of view when it comes to people. We have all these people that we either wish life or death upon. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, O.J. Simpson. So, maybe this is a good thing because now y'all can just let it go. He got away with it. If he did it, he got away with it. Either way, you never were able to prove it. And she's gone, he's gone. It's over now. So no more OJ sightings, no more OJ internet, funny internet memes, no more OJ entertainment. Rest in peace. You can go join Al Cowlings now. Your boy who was helped you get away.
Yeah. He's out there now.
Did he do it though? Do you think he did it? Like what last time? Do you think he did it? Any one of you guys, tell me. I know you don't seem to be enthused about having this conversation.
So
well, go ahead, Grant.
I'll say I just found it hard to believe that he did it and there was no like gallon of blood on him. You know what I mean? Or anywhere near anything that he did. Like I just that was the only thing that troubled me about it. Whether he did it or not, I don't know. But I physically, just based off of the physics of it, I found it hard to believe. Now he may have been there watching. He may have been there watching while somebody that he paid to kill her killed her. But
yeah, well, that was my theory. I think that there was somebody else there with him. And some people said it was a family member. There's been all kind of rumors, but I think somebody was there. He didn't do it alone, or was didn't do it, or however you look at it. But I think there was somebody else with him there.
Well, the evidence always pointed that there was somebody else there, and I think that's what they kind of pissed the police off because they knew that for the first time. Let's be honest. What really upset people about this case is that for the first time in the history of America, a black man who had the means to hire the proper legal representation was able to get away with a murder or with involvement in a murder.
Right.
Is really what it comes down to. And a lot of it was really just people just mad that they didn't have OJ's resources. Really.
Yeah. You know what, John? No, I want to say this real quick. OJ was probably, in modern America today, we see it a lot, but I think OJ was the first person that I can think of that left the black community, got in trouble, came back, was embraced by the black community, then was acquitted, and then just bounced, went, got out of public sight, public eye. And, back then he was like the first that I can think of that did it. But nowadays you see, Candace Owens is out there, Omarosa and all these others are doing the same thing now. But obviously OJ's accusation was a lot more serious.
Right.
But there it's the same, leaving the black community when it suits you, and then when you need them, you come back. Now you pro-black.
Right. But OJ was always that way.
Yeah.
OJ was always the assimilationalist. And I think that's what really upset people about him is because they accepted OJ in. And they, hey, he's a safe guy. You can go get his autograph and everything. But at the same time, look, someone made a really good point, and they were talking about the times that OJ came up in, and what they were referring to was the 70s and the 80s, and that's when we're up here talking about Diddy and his parties and everything. Those orgies that was going on in the 70s and 80s was no joke, and there were no cameras. There were no cameras. There was no one there that was documenting all the stuff that was going on.
So that's why when I came on the first time, I was so glad social media wasn't around, when nobody was documenting everything. But, some of the older rappers from the 80s, they were saying that the rappers today, they talk about stuff that they did, but and it's out in the open in public, and you could see it. They said those same things happened, but they didn't really talk about it.
Right.
It was more, it was a secret. You just did what you had to do, and then you kept it moving. But now everybody wants everyone to see them doing things just to get, like, as the younger kids say, now you see, I got the receipts. So it's more like that than it is, back in the day.
Receipts just get you sentenced.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's all about the popularity, though. You know what I mean? So the popularity is what they looking for, the likes or whatever. So you record this stuff, you post it, and then you get popular for a minute, but then you get arrested.
You can be the most popular. You can be the most popular new boy toy on the fucking cell block. Honestly,
right?
Putting all your business out there on the internet. That's what these kids don't get. Like the police, they laugh at black people. We are not like, there are a lot of differences between black people back then and black people now. The biggest difference is like exactly what we just said. Cats had bodies and they were sitting at Thanksgiving tables with manners, afraid to say anything to their mama because they didn't want to get smacked upside the head. There were levels to different things. You didn't go out there. You didn't need somebody. You didn't walk into somebody's house and grab their daughter and kiss her in front of the dad. And like, it's so funny.
Right. Right.
You being disrespectful is a funny thing. That shit wasn't tolerated. That shit would end the dinner in the 70s. Some of these cats, they get in a time machine and they go back to the 70s and try to act the way that they acting and everything, and just go meet some of their own family members. And them motherfuckers ain't gonna last but 3 hours in their own families.
Mm-hmm.
Your blood would beat the shit out of you. Am I wrong? Y'all ever fight your cousins?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's how I learned how to fight. So
right. It was survival.
That's survival. You can't touch these kids. They pulling out and everything. They pulling out on family. They high and stupid and disrespectful. And it just doesn't make any sense. This is not to like say like it's like, oh, it's so terrible and the world is like, I'm still the same dude and everything. I mean, you can try it. You can try that around me. I don't know how it's going to work out for you. But what I'm saying is that, in this new age of how things are as compared to the world that OJ grew up in a world where he actually, the story about him sleeping with what's her name, the Kardashian woman, they were all in a hot tub. All of them are friends. Robert, who got him off, and his wife get out of the hot tub, and OJ said that he just like pulled his things down and he said he wrecked her. And this is a story that is well known, and it had to be well known because it was word of mouth. That's someone who really doesn't give a fuck right there. Because the word of mouth that story got out, that's someone who really doesn't give a fuck, because in that world of the 70s and 80s, there was nothing that was unavailable to O.J. Simpson in his world. And it's the same thing with everyone that was orbiting with him in that world at that time. There was nothing that was denied to them. So, and it was behind closed doors. You want to talk about terrible, heinous things, they got some stories that they could tell you. Or maybe they can't, because most of the parties are gone right now. So
but it won't. It's not that they can't, they won't. Because the code was different. Mm-hmm. Right? The code was you didn't kiss and tell. You kept it to yourself. Right? Because particularly, most of the time you kind of know when you're doing dirt. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you know you're doing dirt, this self-preservation mechanism should kick in, and you should keep that to yourself. But the boundaries have changed. Like the boundaries have been pushed further out. Like, you used to not be able to like get a girl to give you a blowjob or whatever the thing is. But now the boundaries have been pushed so far that you get a blowjob on the first date.
Yeah, those kids in the 90s, like they really knocked that one out the park.
Yeah.
Because they were
But
like, you know, they had those girls giving them blowjobs all over the places. You know,
right.
if you listen, if y'all are, if you're sensitive to this topic or the truth of what was going on, it's like all you have to do is like popular culture mirrors culture. And if you look at the movies that they were making in the early 90s, you had these people, what were they doing? They were throwing sex parties. Their high school parties were kids walking around in their underwear, going from room to room, dropping what was that? It's not Molly. What
Acid.
was that? No, what
Acid.
was the drug
LSD.
at the time? No, it was something sexual like
Oh, ecstasy.
Was it Prelude?
ecstasy. 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 They're all doing ecstasy pills, going to parties, and this is what they did. That's what they did culturally. If you think about it, those kids that were teenagers in let's just say 1996 to 2006, those are your like 30 and 40 somethings today. Is there a wonder that they don't understand how to have a strong relationship or how to build a relationship? Is there a wonder why they struggle with intimacy in a place where they don't understand how cheating perhaps is such a bad thing? Because they didn't really grow up with that. They grew up with sex parties.
Well, John, you know what it is too, though, is people are not right now, like a lot of people are unaware of consequence. Like, you know, some people think that they can literally do whatever they want in a relationship or even let's just say they want to have some, you know, a girl wants to have some hot girl summers with her friends, or she wants to set up some type of an OnlyFans page, make some money. Then she thinks when she stops and she doesn't do it anymore, that she's going to pick when she can get married. Okay, now I'm ready to settle down and be a housewife, or I'm ready to be married and have a family.
Mhm.
And they're totally unaware of the consequence of what they do. Like they think that it should just be swept under the rug. I heard a girl one time say, she said that body count, not only should body count not matter, but if the guy used a condom, that don't count. So they think in these types of ways. Like they really, the thinking is so warped, and there's no accountability for it, that they believe it. And so it makes it this is where we're at. You know, so nowadays, if you're meeting a girl for the first time or something, she's attractive, you like her, you got to check and see if she's got an OnlyFans account, or she's got some type of some money making
Right.
venture where she's
Right.
selling herself, basically. And so it's very problematic. I can see why today some of these guys are really reluctant to get married, because you just don't know what's out here.
Mm. A lot of them been ran through and not in a good
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Right. But that's isn't that part of this whole kind of not wanting to go out and get a job. I feel like I'm entertaining enough, or in the case of these young women, they feel like I'm attractive enough, or you know, to do OnlyFans, you know, or whatever, and not realizing that I think they don't know what they want, for one, but the there's no good men rhetoric has been out there since the 80s, you know, whenever that rhetoric started coming out, you know, the whole just men not wanting to get married, the lack of men, all that kind of stuff just kind of leads women toward that. Well, I got to do it on my own. I got to make my own money, and this is an easy way to make money. I don't really want to get a job, but if I show my titties online, then maybe I can make a decent living.
You're not wrong. It's times like this when we're having conversations like this that I'm grateful for the fact that I was so close to my mother. And let me explain to you why I say that. And it's because of the fact that what I'm about to say, this ain't coming from me. This is coming from Miss Mary, R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know Miss Mary, she would break it down for you.
Yes, sir.
She'll break it down for you and explain it to you. So I mean, what it is that the parameters. It's like I watch all these this stuff. Like this week, Last week I had watched a couple of TikToks and I had gotten triggered. This week I didn't watch hardly any TikToks because I have no time to be triggered. It's like I don't want to put my mind in that place. But all I kept thinking about was my mother when she used to say, "Well, women set the standards for everything. They set the parameters. Women set the barriers." And what these women aren't realizing is that they've set it's not the men that are setting the bar low, it's the women. Because the women are accepting cash for their goods, for a peek at their goods, for their sexuality, for their sensuality, for their, even for their time sexually. Everything is based upon money. It's all based upon money. And you're not setting any moral goals, but a woman has so much power naturally, just because of the fact that she's the mother of your child. I said this, your mother. I said this last week when talking to Rob. I'm like, yo, the first woman that you love is your mother. The first woman that you respect is your mother. Most men will do damn near anything for their mothers. If their mothers tell them not to treat a woman in a certain way, they're not going to treat them in that way because they don't want to disappoint their moms. And these things were all societal things that kind of worked their ways through. Where it all ended and where it all started to end and crumble is really with this conversation is with the host, with the whole talk. I'm watching these shows from the 70s and these women, I watched The Love Boat, and I swear to God, it cracks me up the number of times that the plots are a man and a woman on a cruise to try to get their thing back together because the man has been having an affair for a lot of years, but he wants to give his wife another chance. And the wife is so grateful. Like, oh, it's so great that you're not going to leave me. Yeah, you've been fucking married for around the corner 3 weeks for the past 3 years and everything. And the only reason why you broke up is because she dumped you. But I'm glad that you're still willing to come and bring that mediocre sex on home.
You know what? There's now, remember when women could use sex sort of, I won't say as a weapon, but could use it to sort of get what they want.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's so devalued that it doesn't have value anymore.
Thanks to the host.
Like it used to. And you can't, so guys are looking at girls now. If he meets a girl who's legitimately saying, I'm going to wait a month, 2, 3 months before we do anything, he looks at her like she's the oddball because all the other girls are doing it when they feel like it.
Well, let's be honest. He has a choice at that point in time. He can either tell her, you fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not spending all this money on these more than Cheesecake Factory priced restaurants and everything, only to go home and catch blue balls every night. You could say that to her directly. You could continue to woo her and not worry about it and just go home and get you an alcohol service when you get home. And an alcohol service really isn't that difficult. If you have Facebook, you know people in your neighborhood, in your area, and everything. All you got to do is, oh yeah, I'll come see you, but I'm kind of short on my bills. I could use $250 to pay my light bill. Come on over. That's within the budget. And continue to date the other woman, and she's none the wiser. And it doesn't make any difference because she's put a price on it. Basically, what women have done is they've made it easy for hoes to access the good men. You wonder where all the good men are. It's because you've made it easy by making it acceptable. It's acceptable for that woman to go out and do that whole service at the end of the night. And you can't shame her. You can't stop her morally. It's wrong for you to get in a group and say, hey, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be fucking my boyfriend.
So I think hoes have always had an easy time getting whatever man they wanted. But I think where the shift happened is I think as a wife, the perception is that the wife is the servant, and the mistress gets all of the fun. She gets the dinners, she gets the trips, she gets the great sex, she gets where the wife just like is at home with the kids, cooking dinner, blah blah blah. And I think that's where the disconnect kind of happened for women, that got them away from wanting to be a wife, wanting to be married, wanting to be whatever it is. And they decided that they were going to make their own money, and they were going to make themselves, even if they couldn't be somebody's mistress, they would take themselves on a trip. They would take themselves out for the great dinners. They would, you know what I mean? Like they would make their own money and empower themselves to do the things that the mistress got, or at least in her mind that the mistress got. So then that mistress mentality just kind of permeates the entire society right now.
Well, you ain't wrong, except for the fact that the math ain't mathing. Meaning that
True.
you can go out, and if you got to pay, like, I was watching the Kevin Samuels clip today when he jumped on somebody. It was like, you women have it all like out of perspective, because you're paying 100% of everything right now as a single woman, and you won't accept paying 60% or paying 40%, because it's got to be all or nothing. So that way you can have your things. But when you're alone and everything, you're paying 100% of it. So you're not getting any break whatsoever. And you get tired of paying that. Nobody wants to pay 100%. No woman wants to pay 100% of her bills for her entire life. It's just like nobody wants to do that. That's not the story. That's not what the goal is. The goal is to get someone, but now they want 100. And the problem is that in order for a man that's of their age, usually the men of their age groups aren't making enough money to do that. So that's what I mean that the math ain't mathing. They can't afford to take care of 100% of your bills and put a roof over your head and do all these different things for you. And
That's
you
always
just
been the
keep all
case.
your money.
That's always been the
Yes.
case.
Yeah.
Right. But now it's even worse. These gaps
But
are even
here's the
worse.
deal, though. What the problem is that women they date in such extremes that, and the funniest thing too is that 60% of the country is living check to check. So I'm trying to figure
Right.
out who's got all this money. So women are flocking to this very small percentage of men who got money and resources and who can pay it. So they're having fun. The man is just, he's having his pick of the litter. He's just he's just sleeping with some of them. He's he'll mess around with them. He'll fly him out for a weekend. He'll send him back home. And in the woman's mind, she's saying, "Oh, I just slept with such and such man. He makes 400 or 500 grand a year. We were dating." And I'm like, "No, you weren't dating. You only spent 2-3 days with him." But in her mind, it's so psychologically messed up. She thinks that that's the types of guys she should be with. So she's not even entertaining the thought of dating a guy making $75,000 a year. She's not even that thought hasn't even entered her mind. She literally believes that those are the type of men she's supposed to be dating.
See, the crazy part about what you just said, Andrew, is that a lot of those guys that they're going out and they're spending that weekend with and everything, we all know men lie like crazy.
Right.
So
They fake it.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. So
Yeah.
you can make $75,000 and have $400,000 worth of credit, and
Yeah.
you can trick out that weekend, and you can bring that chick in, and you can have your way, and then she can go back and she can tell all the girlfriends he makes X, Y, and Z, and he's got this, that, and the other, and everything. In reality, be something different. And this is where the gap comes in, because they're not actually falling in love. They're falling in like or lust with the things that those men can buy them and provide them. So what we see men doing is we see men essentially tricking themselves into debt. And that's essentially what it is.
But that's the saying is, so when men believe what they see, women believe what they hear. That's why women will always wear makeup. That's why men will always lie.
Yeah. Sometimes, it's you almost get that impression that they want you to lie to them. They want the lie to be the truth. You know,
Of
so
course.
guys are liars. They'll lie just to be doing it, just to say, hey, you know, if this is what they want to hear, I'm gonna
If
go ahead and tell them what they want to hear. You know, it's just like,
do you
and
do
see how
you
far it goes.
do you know how many times I've told women the truth and they basically call me a bold-faced fucking liar because I told
Right.
them the truth?
All the time.
Yeah, yeah. You know, one of the
It's
funniest things
hilarious
we
to
used to
me.
do. You know, we used to do this
Right.
when I was in the Air Force, and we'd go out to the bars in the Boston, Massachusetts area, and we would tell the girls, they say you're in the Air Force, and they say what you do. We'd all say we were pilots.
Okay.
Right. What else? Right. What else you gonna say?
Yeah, well,
Right.
we ain't no damn pilots. We just, we had regular, I was like a cop type thing. I had a little security job. I was a guard basically, but they don't know, so you tell them your pilots, they get all excited, their eyes light up, and, you use it to get you from point A to point B. And so you're right. Like, it's almost like when you tell them the truth, they call you a liar. When you lie to them, they want it to be the truth. So
They call you a
you gotta
liar.
tell them what you gotta tell them.
You gotta tell them. Do you really have to tell? You gotta tell them what you gotta tell them. Depends on how good she look in that dress,
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
she got to get that mistress life somehow,
right? Okay.
even if it's a make believe mistress life.
See, but here's the thing: like the great big synopsis of the past like 7 minutes of this conversation, I'm gonna say is that just basically men are full of shit. When when it comes to getting that wet, to getting in between them legs,
Right.
a man will tell you anything. Men are full of shit. But here's the problem with women. Women were used to be able to call the men out on their shit. And we're willing to do that. But in this never-ending quest for bags, that sounds like a fucking game show. Quest for bags. They have the bag. Are you gonna go get the bag? Or are you gonna date Tyrone? I'm gonna go take the
It's a door that women walk up to. There's 3 doors. The door to the left is Tyrone.
Mhm.
The door to the right is getting the bag. And if they will go straight through the door that's straight ahead of them, that's where they can be married, have kids, and live the rest of their lives happy for the most part. And nowadays the girls are picking either Tyrone or the bag.
Right.
And that's
Right.
it. They're not
that's it.
walking straight,
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you hear the commentary last week? I don't know if y'all listened to the show last week, but Rob and I were talking about the poll, and the poll was about black women choosing. They had a choice of having a child in the house. I mean, a man in the house who was present and active.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, and or like a man that's actually just going to pay child support. And like 99% of these women took child support. So it's like, to me, it's like that kind of, if 99% of y'all are taking child support, I don't think that y'all really have a right to even have a conversation or tell somebody about their choices of who they choose to be with. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Y'all just basically out here, you just basically just saying we hoeing it. We hoeing.
That's
We
it.
don't care. We're not looking for partnership. We're not looking for companionship. We're not trying to listen. It's a matriarchal society that we want anyway. So y'all niggas can just like beat feet and everything. Why would a black man talk to that? And just like, it's so sad because just a few years ago it was like black love and a black man and a black woman together and everything. And I guess like those relationships have run their course now, because now what we're getting is I want the bag. It's just like, it's just so
You know
sad,
what it is?
bro.
It's the child support vehicle is the Mercedes C250. So you see a woman driving a Mercedes C250, she's getting child support. And so they want the baby, and they'll get the check, and they do it on their own. So it's like, if I can get $1,000 a month, that knock out the rent, mortgage, or whatever we paying, or 1,500, whatever the number is, the more money the man make, the more money she get. So you get to a point where I can live the standard of life that I want to live, and The guy don't even have to be there. I don't have to deal with the relationship.
Mm.
You got that, and then you got the other type of woman who goes out and has the babies with Tyrone. That didn't work. They never got married. And they come back into the, out here dating, and they're looking for marriage, and they have high standards. So the new guy, they want the new guy to make the money. They want the new guy to take care of Tyrone's kids, and he can't discipline them. So that's what they're selling.
Right.
So this is some of the reasons why men are not getting married. They're looking at what they have to choose from. And women, you'll say that there's not a lot of good men. There are good men, but they don't see them, because either women date in extremes. Either they go for the top of the top, or they go to the bottom of the bottom. I did a show, I think last week, when we were talking about this, and I said that a woman will not date an average man working a 9-to-5 job that makes a reasonable salary. She would rather date a dude who's unemployed, or a struggling musician, a creator type, say a artist or a struggling rapper or struggling R&B singer.
Well, because
they'll date that guy. They'll date that guy before they'll date stability.
Well, because that person has enough time to. I'm sorry. Let me just guess. They have enough time to pay attention to her.
Yes. Because and they'll cater to them to an extent, because they know they don't have anything. So that guy who's not working will do things for her that the guy working a 9-to-5 just isn't going to have time to do. So some women will be willing to pay the bills to get that type of attention from a guy that will do those things that she wants. And like example is, that unemployed guy can't complain if she puts on 30 pounds. What are you going to say? She's paying the bills. Well, he can't say nothing. So she can do what she kind of wants in that situation, where he has to deal with it, where the guy who's responsible and working, he's going to say something. He's going to tell her, like, if you out of pocket for doing this, you ain't,
you have to hold up,
tighten up.
You got to hold up your
end of the deal. So,
well,
so
go ahead, Grant.
On some, and just real quick, on some level, so I agree with what Andrew's saying, but on another level, though, I think that a lot of women just are not on a good man's radar. You know what I mean? Because you ain't qualified for what you're not really qualified for what you think you want. And I think that's where the real crux of the matter is that women think that they make the choice, and on some levels they do. But if a man is just not hunting you, then you can't choose him, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. And the thing is, you're right, Grant, because there's a lot of the women who want those guys, the higher up type guys. They're not qualified for those guys. They're
right.
not. But what they're offering, that's not what those guys want.
Well, look, let me just stop, because I don't ever want to make a show or make it seem like during a show that what we're doing is like bashing women.
No,
and
I agree.
Smashing, so it's like I don't want it to go. I don't want it to go too far, but I do want to say this though. When men stop holding women accountable and allow them to start doing everything that they wanted to do, that was the end of fucking society as we know it.
Yeah, I didn't want it, John. I didn't want it to sound like that.
Look, I don't want to sound like this, but listen, I can't not tell the truth and everything. Yeah. So it's like, this is what it really comes down to, because what I've been trying to figure out is where it all went wrong and how can we get it to a point where it's where it makes more sense and everything. And I know I'm making these like gestures, like I'm like actually holding boobies. I'm trying to hold them right.
So John, you know what though? I think everything eventually reverts back to the mean. So when something goes too far extreme in one direction, it has to come back to its natural order.
Natural
It's just a
order.
matter.
Ooh.
Well, it's just a matter of, how many times you're going to get knocked upside the head before you start to realize that what you're asking for is not attainable to you, or the man or the woman. Because John, on the man's side, he's looking at a lot of these little short reels, and they got these girls with all these fake body parts. And in his mind, if he's looking like, oh, I'm supposed to be trying to get a girl that looks like that. So his mind is warped, just like the woman's mind is warped, because he's looking at all of these women, he's looking at these women with all, it's like there's fake hair, there's fake lips, there's fake eyelashes, there's fake butts, there's fake boobs. And these women are walking around, and he's seeing all of this because all of these women now are starting to look very similar. They kind of have that Barbie doll look. So he's thinking, hey, this is the type of woman I'm supposed to be with. And so the women thinking that, okay, this is what they say they want. They seem to get stimulated when they see these types of women. So I'm going to make myself look like that. I heard a woman say, literally, she's like, I spent $150,000 on this body, so I'm entitled to a guy who makes $1 million, is a millionaire. Because it's the mindset is this. This is where people are at. They're caught up in that. And so the guy's looking at the woman's body and thinking that he's supposed to get that. The woman is looking, at the resources, and she's not qualified for it. And so both of them are ending up with nothing.
He could have called Orlando and taken that $150,000. He would have flipped that for her a couple of times, and she would have been able to actually go out and buy herself any type of man that she wanted, or any type of lifestyle that she wanted on her own, and had a better choice. Had a better way of actually going out and doing these things. You're giving this $150,000, and you're essentially financing someone else's dreams with your gelinated, which is gelatinous ass, that some men are not fucking interested in whatsoever, and everything. I have a hard time with these modern times, and when a year ago when we had Dr. Chemio on the show, and she was so caught up on verbiage and everything. We're talking about verbiage and how you put things. I can't get behind this verbiage thing, this whole thing. I consider myself to be a feminist in a lot of ways. Okay. And the reason why I say that, but I'm also at the same time, I'm a full grown man that's still pumping testosterone through his balls. Right. So I see women and I find them attractive. I don't find them somewhat not, if I find you attractive, I find you attractive. The difference with me is that I don't find all of them attractive. Just because you have a fat butt and you could be very well put together and I can look at you. With me, attraction is usually mental. It's usually something that is unseen. It's usually something different. So I'm never going to fall into that trap of just seeing that beautiful face. If I do, it's because I feel that attraction at that point in time. But I consider myself to be a feminist. And I don't believe I'm not going to hire a guy over a female because he's a guy. I just wouldn't do that. I'm not going to do things that are rude in front of women because my mother brought me up different. Because my mother brought me up different. You see, so you had said something, Andrew, about, the man comes in, he can marry the woman, but he can't discipline the children and everything. Those are Tyrone's kids, but she don't let Tyrone discipline those children either. Tyrone don't have a voice in it whatsoever. She's that voice, that one and only voice. So when that man grows up and he's out there doing the same things that Tyrone, who's the example in his house, is doing, which is in his house that he sees is doing, which is basically sleeping with his mom and going out once or twice a week and fucking with his side chick. And mom ain't saying nothing because Tyrone is paying half the bills and she's accepting of the side chick, and it's all out in the open. And he's being very disrespectful to little Tyrone's mom. No relation. Little Tyrone is no relation to Big Tyrone, who's now in the house. And now the cycle now repeats. Whereas the woman used to have the ability to teach her son different, to allow the man into the house, to like work something out and have that conversation. But that's not what it's about. It's about just getting that paycheck. We are our own oppressors. We are our own worst enemies in this way because of the refusal to put that family, to put that bullshit aside and everything in and just be whatever. You know, I fell victim back in the day with my ex. You know, the reason why I say I fell victim is because I was still trying to be a father. And she was like early in the game on, nah, I just want the bag and everything. You're not going to have no say in your kids. And then went out and did wild and crazy shit. So I know from this experience, but I still didn't learn, you know, because I was still trying to be a father. I was still trying to be dad. Most of these dudes ain't trying to be dad no more. They just going out and get a side chick, and the women are telling them that it's okay. No women are sitting there saying, like, you know, morally you should go and you should check on your child from this area. Whereas before, in other generations, you might have melded families and you might have a stepmom who might be like, yo, listen, if you don't go check on your son, I don't even want nothing to fucking do with you. These moral things don't come into play when it's time to choose a mate day. It's now all monetary and everything. And then we wonder why shit's all fucked up. And the women have abdicated their moral authority. And that's the problem. And I need my sisters to step up. I need them to step up. Honestly, I do. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, niggas ain't shit sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You ain't been shit a lot of times either. But, you know, you got to step up. And the men, you know what I'm saying? You have to make the men be accountable. Am I wrong here?
No, well, it's who you on the woman's side of things. It's who you have a baby with. I've counseled several men, you know, in my previous line of work, telling me about, you know, Mr. Johnson, my baby mama's crazy, and I would say to him, was she crazy when you was having sex with her? She's always been crazy.
That's why I liked her.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, the consequence is you got Junior.
That's right.
And you got to deal with crazy baby mama now.
That's right.
Because when you have that baby, you stuck. You with that woman for until the day you die. Till one of you die, y'all have a commonality, and it's a child. So you stuck. So you got to weigh the cost. It's a cost benefit analysis.
Hey,
it's picking the right one.
Boss.
That's right. You got to remember in the 70s, in the theme song to Beretta. You know, don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
If you can't do the time.
You know, don't go to bed with a price on your head. I mean, the same thing. Don't sleep with a crazy woman if you don't want to have a crazy baby. I mean, it's all of it all ties together. You got to make right decision.
But you see, my problem is that now the crazy ones, it used to be there was always the moral thing there where the women would do what was best for the family first. They would think about the kids first. But now the crazy ones have actually won. So that way the poll is now at 99%. I'll take the bag. I'm not even trying to parent. These bitches ain't even trying to parent. They're trying to talk about parenting. They want to talk about how hard it is and everything. They want the sympathy for all the other things. Here's the hard part about that, about what I'm saying right now. All the shit that I'm saying is really sounding like it really comes off like a misogynist dick. But listen, can you stop me at one point when I tell one untruth? You're going to go through the hardship anyway. Okay? If the man is a bad man, or if the man is a bad man and he doesn't pay attention, you're going to go through the hardship. If the man is a good man and he pays the money, you're going to go through the hardship. Because what you're not accounting for is the children. And the children used to be the only thing that the mothers accounted for. But now I got to worry about myself. I've got to be the person that I want to be. I got to live my best life. But when you decide that you're going to have kids, that goes out the window. The same thing with the men. But you can't, but men are stupid. Okay, here's the thing: men are stupid. You can't hold them accountable. They can't be held accountable if they don't have an example. If the woman is not setting an example, the man just don't fucking know. You kept the father away from him. So the example that he has is you. He is your, what is that? What is it that you were saying, Andrew, before?
No, the son husband.
The son husband. You have elevated that motherfucker before his time because of the fact that the reason why you elevate him is because he has no power. He has no power. All he can do is watch you as you go left and you go right. You have now decided that when you decide you're taking that bag, you are now taking on the entire bag of responsibility, morally, personally, everything. And it just doesn't stop at the bag because your wards, you have children that are your wards. It's just like fucked up. So look, go ahead, Grant.
Is all of this seems like it's just a product of the selfishness of what our society has become, right? Because parenting, and that's really the thing. When you start talking about parenting is the most selfless act that a person can do, right? If you're not being a parent and you just letting these kids do whatever they want to do, you're not setting the example that you're setting for them is it's all about me, right? And children, I mean, children come out of the womb with God well, I shouldn't say God complex, but children come out of the womb thinking that it's all about them. But that's something that they kind of learn, because when they cry, you acquiesce to whatever it is. If you feed them, if you change them, whatever the thing, you play with them, whatever it is. So they grow up, like my youngest daughter is 8 now, and she thinks I'm just supposed to play with her all the time, but that's just her being 8. She has to grow out of that. And it's up to me as a parent to help to force her to grow out of that. But if you're not being a parent, you're going to get a bunch of grown children.
Yeah.
And that's what our society is now.
Yeah. And listen, we're getting close to the end. One of the reasons why I just wanted to tell you that very odd way that I got to this topic, because why I was thinking about this topic was I was reading online about Harry and Meghan Markle.
Meghan.
Yeah.
And about them wanting them to go back to Britain. And and Meghan was like basically like, nah, I'm not going. We're not bringing the kids back there. They were like trying to make it sound like they wanted a reunion of the cousins and everything. And she's like, nah. Of course, the Brits are saying, oh, now she doesn't, oh, she's all mad and every other reason and this and that and this. And for the first time, something that happened with the British royal family actually caught my interest. Because here it is. And I remember seeing her as a little girl, and it all came together. And I remember seeing her mom talk about her as a little girl. And what came to mind was that this woman may be married to this white prince, but she's a black mama bear. She ain't letting her kids go to England where she has no security for them, where these people have been questioning and asking questions about the color of their skin and putting them in the limelight of all these racists and put them right in a direct line of all these racist motherfuckers. And just for what? For what reason would you bring your children there as a mother? If she said that she wanted to bring them, then I would say yeah, okay, she still want to kiss their ass. But she's like, nah, I'm not fucking with it. And the first thing that I thought about was how my mother protected me as a child. And I was looking at the thing, and I was looking at the comments that people were writing about that. about how, all the stuff that doesn't matter. None of it matters. I can't even like remember any of it. The only thing I remember thinking is that she has no security. They have no state security. These people don't like her blackness, obviously. They don't like the fact that the blackness of the kids. And she said, I'm not sending them. If more women thought about their kids and thought about protecting their kids like Meghan Markle has, we'd be in a better place as a community. So that's what I'm saying. Born in Trouble, 43rd episode. Fellas, Andrew, you have anything you'd like to say to end up last thoughts before we leave?
No, I'll say this, pertaining to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, they rocking it on their own. And she's always gonna have that stigma that she essentially tainted the royal blood. So why go back there? Hang out in LA. She's from LA. She grew up in the same neighborhood that Tyra Banks and Anthony Anderson grew up in. Makes she feel comfortable there. She don't got to worry about all that stuff.
And he seems to be happy too.
Yeah.
It is what it is. They just got to leave them alone. Grant, you have any last thoughts on anything we said during the show, bro?
I'll say this regarding Meghan Markle. She know that the royal family killed Lady Di. She knows she better not take her ass back over there.
Sure.
Richard Pryor say, I don't want to be no accident.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Trouble. From Detroit, Michigan, Mr. Grant Lancaster.
Always good to see y'all brothers, man.
Yes, sir. No accidents. No accidents.
Not on my watch.
No accidents. And of course, Mr. Andrew Johnson.
All right, fellas. Once again, it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Big shout out to the homies who aren't here. Reg, we're with you. Our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Yes, sir.
At this point in time, definitely. Rob, our thoughts and prayers are with you. May you get that oppressive yoke off of your neck. That you can join us next week.
Yes, sir.
Gene Hopkins, you haven't been here for a while, but we still love you. We still think about you, brother. We know you're your own man. You're the man for you, so you're keeping your own oppressive yoke. I don't know how that works out. There might be some blue channels for that. And, of course, big shout out to Mr. Chocolate Yoda, who I was discussing. We did that show on his favorite boy, Donald Trump. And what is it? Spotify is yet to update that episode, because they don't like the truths that Yoda drops down. I might have to bring Yoda in next week so we can double down on that shit, Chocolate Yoda. My brother. And hey, everybody out there, hope y'all have a good night. Born in Trouble. We're going to keep it to an hour. Actually on time this week. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.